Time for the only radio show of its kind. Auctioneers of antiques, collectors of cool, veterans of vintage. It's the Donnelly Auctions Hour on AM 560, The Answer. For the next hour, enjoy great information about buying and selling antiques and collectibles, and some interesting stories. Now, the Donnelly Auctions Hour.
Welcome to the Donnelly Auctions Hour. I'm Mike Donnelly, here with my brother Randy Donnelly. We run Donnelly Auctions out in Union, Illinois. We're here every Saturday from 1 to 2 p.m. Talking about upcoming auctions and things that you might have that we can sell for you and put them and make them fit in your wallet. Hi, Rand.
Hey, good afternoon, Mike. And it's sure good to be back. You know, I've had a week off now. I missed you last week. You had a nice show, though. I listened to it. And, you know, we just finished, folks, the phonograph auction, which was a very good antique phonographs and music boxes and radios, which was a very, very good auction. And what's interesting to me is that prices, I would have to say, are still holding on the really good items. Wouldn't you say, Mike?
Absolutely, yeah. The best of the best always sells and always brings good money.
And, you know, that's one thing we have to always remind everybody, both when buying and selling, anything in all these collections that we're selling off right now for people, the really good, the rare items are holding value as best they can, whereas middle of the road, man, it's really hard to sell. There's just too much merchandise on the market. And very few buyers. There's just not enough new collectors, I would have to say.
Yeah, it's just like the stock market. I mean, it's supply and demand. There's more supply than there is demand right now. And come on, all you young people out there, you better start getting interested in this hobby because there's some great bargains and great technology out there to buy.
Well, especially like the antique phonographs that we had this week. Phonographs was always a collection of antiques that was really neat because other than just looking at it, you could do something with it. I mean, phonographs played music and everything. And what kills me is that there is not right now more interest in the youth because there's so many young people following people like Taylor Swift and all these recording stars and everything, where the phonograph was actually the birth to all of these recording stars to follow, people that we're listening to today.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, we know that vinyl's coming back. I mean, we've seen that in a lot of stores and a lot of shops. All of a sudden, bins of vinyl are popping up. So we know the young people do have interest in the 50s and 60s and 70s vinyl. So we have to spark that interest to get them back farther. So there's some great music on this. And the birth of the blues and the jazz on phonograph records goes back to the 20s.
You know, and even going back to, you know, I keep mentioning Taylor Swift as being one of the premier stars today. With her, all the Grammys she wins constantly. It's interesting to me that the Grammy Award not only is an old-time phonograph, but they were originally called Grammy as in gramophone. They were originally called Gramophone Awards. And that's one thing most people, I don't think, realize is the invention of the record player had many, many names originally. When Thomas Edison invented the record player, so to speak, in 1877, it was first called by him a phonograph.
Correct. It was a contraction of two words. It was phono, Greek words, phono for audio and graph for a track. So it was an audio track.
And then because he trademarked the word, other companies that started manufacturing record players had to come up with other words. We saw Victrola, graphophone, gramophone, all these different words that today phonograph is pretty much synonymous with the invention.
Correct, yeah.
But so, again, any of you youngsters out there, and by youngsters, we're talking anybody in your 20s and 30s, start looking at some of the great opportunities in collecting today. So Mike, what's next on the auction agenda?
Well, actually, on June 27th, we have an online auction. It's our vintage watch fobs. Normally, we don't sell things like watch fobs and such, but this collection came our way out of Detroit. It was one man's collection. His son brought it in. I think there was about 2,000 watch fobs.
Wow.
Yeah, and watch fobs, for those of you who don't know what we're talking about, there were little advertisements with a leather strap that attached to your pocket watch and that would hung out of your pocket, make it easier to get your watch out. And they advertised tractors, farm machinery, beer, anything that you could put an advertisement on or advertise was on a watch fob. So that collection is online now. It's going to be an online-only auction, June 27th, but you can go up and view it right now.
And then you go right to our website at DonnellyAuctions.com, and you can see a lot of different auctions that we have available right now. And one of them that actually comes before the watch fob auction is our no, that's in June yet. Okay.
Correct, yep.
So then the first July auction is what? The Ferrari auction.
That's correct. July 19th is the Lake Forest Ferrari at Lake Forest, which is going to be a ticketed event. Is also online, but you have to make reservations to come to this auction, mainly because it's limited by space. Not that we don't want a lot of people there, but it is the showroom, and it's not that big. So,
well, actually, as far as a car dealership, it's massive, but it's not set up for an auction. It's what a phenomenal place. If you're looking to buy a Ferrari, there is no better location anywhere than the Mancuso operation in Lake Forest. And what a collection we have there, huh, Mike?
Oh, unbelievable. Yeah, it's going to be a first-class auction for sure. Anything from signs to Ferrari luggage, advertising.
And cars.
And cars, yeah. There's going to be Ferraris there. And I think what other kind of cars do we have? We have a couple of big race cars from famous racers there, too, don't we?
Well, all the cars, we kind of themed the auction. We're selling off Rick Mancuso's phenomenal collection of Ferrari advertising. He's decided to let some of his Ferrari items go at auction. There's so many people always asking him, "Hey, Rick, can we buy a sign? Can we get this? Can we get that?" It's so rare, so hard to find that Rick has agreed to let some of it go. But some of the cars in this auction are really incredible. We've got a 1988 Corvette. Trans Am auto racing chassis. This car is a national championship car. We have Rick's 1971 Corvette LT1 with the removable hardtop. This is a one of a kind car on its own. It's just phenomenal. The cars that we don't have a lot of cars, but the cars that are in there are crazy good. Rick's 1957 Chevy Corvette Stingray, the number 57 car, is in this auction. This again has been a road racer for many, many years. Art Redman of Seattle raced this car from 2001 to 2008. It's won all kinds of trophies, including the Rolex Trophy and so on and so forth. A 1993 Camaro body on a Weaver Trans Am. And, of course, we've got a couple biggies for you. We actually have Richard Petty's Plymouth Fury, 1960 Plymouth Fury, that he won his second, third, and fourth race in. Not only that, we've got a Mario Andretti, a dirt racer, an SDP car. Just wow.
Yeah, there was somebody around yesterday asking about the Mario Andretti. It was all hot, wanted to see it already.
Yep. Well, you can see it already because we have this auction online.
Yep.
As we speak, DonnellyAuctions.com. Go to our website and there's various ways for you to look at it. But, Mike, didn't you say somebody was just called in and said, is it too late to get a race car in?
Yeah, somebody wanted to put their Porsche in it, and I said, well, you're going to have to talk to Randy, and I wasn't sure exactly what your process was.
So do call us at 815-923-7000 is a number, and they'll put you directly in touch with me because we're always taking more items for the next auction. And it's never too late because there's always the next auction. Again, we're running one major auction a month and sometimes 2 and 3 a month, depending on how many online-only auctions that we do. So there's all kinds of opportunities if you have collections for sale of any kind, and we'll talk about that more in the hour. We're looking for your items, and we're going to sell items for you. And what's our tagline? Make it fit in your wallet.
That's our tagline, that's for sure.
So, again, next segment, we'll be telling you more about what we're looking for.
All right, you're listening to the Donnelly Auctions Hour right here on AM 560. It's Mike and Randy Donnelly here, and we will be back right after the break.
They've been called auctioneers of antiques, collectors of cool, even veterans of vintage. And they can introduce themselves. Thanks for listening. This is the Donnelly Auctions Hour on AM 560, The Answer.
Welcome back to the Donnelly Auction Hours. You got the Donnelly brothers here, Randy and Mike Donnelly.
That we do.
Coming to you to talk about what's coming up and what's hot and what we can do for you.
And you know what? I should point out, actually, that we are at the Phonograph show in Schaumburg right now as we speak. So if you've got a few minutes and want to come to an antique phonograph show, it's at the Hyatt Regency in Schaumburg.
That's correct. Today and tomorrow.
Yep, right. Rest of the day and part of the day on Sunday. So you've got to get there in the morning on Sunday if you're coming to the show. But, we were just talking about the Rick Mancuso auction that we've got coming up in July. Fabulous collection of advertising and sports racing memorabilia and everything. But Rick himself is a legend in racing, and we will have Rick on at least once, if not multiple times, before his auction coming up in July. So you definitely want to keep listening. And if you want to get tickets for the Mancuso auction to be there live, let us know now because we have a limited amount of seating for that auction. And if you've got more racing memorabilia, it doesn't have to be full-size cars. We're looking for trophies and outfits, memorabilia. But Mike, one interesting thing that I always find about what we do is we take it from extreme to extreme. Here we're talking about cars right now that we're selling in July that will be going from, say, $100,000 to $1 million in value. But yet in August, we're going to be selling cars that could be as little as $500.
Yeah, some of these barn finds that we're coming in right now. And by barn finds, we mean actually barn finds. Some of these cars have been sitting there for 30, 40, 50 years.
Absolutely. So folks, if you have cars, any type of cars in any condition, they don't have to be racing legends. If you've got an old Model T or a Model A out in the garage or storage building or warehouse, what's interesting to I think both Mike and I is how many times in the city of Chicago we find warehouses full of vehicles, people that have collected up cars and just have complete buildings full of automotive, signs, gas pumps, cars, you name it.
Yeah, and it's not all restored stuff. It's things that guys just liked and appreciated and bought because they were able to buy it right and just had these buildings and just stuck the stuff away because they used to like to go look at it.
And that's one of the reasons that we run this show is so people know sometimes how to sell, because so many times the widows are put in a situation where they have a spouse pass away, And oh my God, what do I do with this? And in many cases, they never even knew their husbands had this. It becomes a big surprise as to what they have in these buildings and everything. So we can help you liquidate any size, whether it's one vehicle or whether it's 100 vehicles. Don't hesitate to call us. Call us at 815-923-7000 or go to Donnelly Auctions. And DonnellyAuctions.com, and that's Donnelly, Donley. A lot of people are having a little bit of a time getting through to us because they're putting in double N's, double L's. No, it's Donley, auctions with an S. .com. But it's not only cars. I mean, we're doing anything mechanical.
Yeah, even motorcycles. And it doesn't have to be really old motorcycles. Some of the hottest motorcycles right now are the Japanese bikes from the 60s and 70s when they were first being imported into the United States. I mean, so many of us started riding motorcycles back in the 60s. Our first bike was a Honda or Yamaha or Suzuki. I mean, some of those names. I had a very obscure dirt bike named a Hodaka. I mean,
I remember that.
There weren't many of them made, and boy, would I love to have one of those now. So that's what we're finding is people want to buy things that they remember. So these Japanese motorcycles are really, really hot right now. Any condition, because people need parts from them too. So even if they've been disassembled or even if they've been in a crash, there's good parts on these things.
You know what kills me, Mike, is when you and I were growing up in Berwyn and Cicero, all these old Harleys from the 30s, 40s, and 50s. The stuff was everybody had old Harleys in their garages, and this stuff was so common. And all of our friends were chopping bikes.
Oh yeah,
everybody turning them into choppers, and all those old vintage motorcycles that got chopped up. It's funny. We're still finding the antique bikes. But where are all the choppers?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, and that's an art form in itself. I mean, those old choppers, because they were all individual. There was nothing mass-produced.
Nothing mass-produced there. They were all custom bikes that guys did in their garages and chop shops and everything else. But we're always looking for old Harleys, old Indians, and it amazes me. I rode a 40 Harley Knucklehead. And those Knucklehead motors, oh, my goodness, the value of those nowadays, to go back and pick some more of those up, it's nothing for a junk Knucklehead to be starting at about $30,000 and then going up from there. A $100,000 old Harley Davidson is not out of the question at all.
No, so if you got them in your garage or you know somebody who does, I mean, give us a call. We'll be happy to give you a free evaluation. That's one thing. We don't expect you to just say, oh, here it is, go ahead and take it. We will work with you as to what we believe the value is on your items before we take them under contract. And,
I do love turning results. We had a 1917 Harley Davidson that a guy kept, I'm going to, well, maybe someday. He kept telling us we would get it. Finally, he decides he's going to sell it, and he says, but I can't take less than $25,000 for this motorcycle. Oh, no, well, you don't have to. And we turned that bike, I think, net to him, I think it was $54,000.
Yep.
And he was hoping for 25. So the results, they speak for themselves. And
well, that's the beauty of an auction. I mean, if two guys want it bad enough, they'll get in a battle over it. Rather than if you put a price on it, you've always said this, Randy. If you put a price on it, you'll only negotiate down.
That's right.
Auctions, I mean, is where you get two guys hot on something, and the sky is the limit when they want it bad enough.
You negotiate upward.
Yep.
So, again, cars, motorcycles, signs. Now, anything in vintage porcelain signs.
Yep. The old gasoline signs.
Oh, my goodness. And gas pumps. This is something that is of particular interest to me, actually. As you know, Mike, we used to collect gas pumps and had many, many of them. And at one time, I was constantly finding collections, right? Again, in Chicago, collections of gas pumps. Now, nobody has called us lately on a complete collection of gas pumps or the crowns, the gas globes or the glass globes that went on top of the pumps. I haven't had anybody call with a large collection of those in quite a while.
No, and they're out there. We know they're out there.
And that's coming up. We need these for the August auction, which is August 17th and 18th. It's our summer coin-op cars and more auction where we're doing slot machines, jukeboxes, anything coin-operated. We just picked up a big Brunswick-style bar the other day. That'll be in the auction, so we're looking for saloon items and you name it, big chandeliers, but even carousel items.
Yep, so the antique carousel, the horses, whether they're made of wood or aluminum. Once we get into the fiberglass horses, they're the later ones, but the woods and the aluminum ones are the ones we're looking for. When we I want to talk more about signs too when we come back in, because there's so many different signs that people are collecting now. It's a good field, but we're running a little short in this segments. But so when we come back on. I'd like to talk more about signs.
And then, again, just a reminder, DonnellyAuctions.com. If you've got items for sale, you can let us know what you've got or call us at 815-923-7000 and just ask to talk to Randy or Mike. We'll be more than happy to help you.
Yeah, when we come back, I want to talk a little bit more about signs with you, Randy. And you are listening to the Donnelly Auctions Hour right here on AM 560. We'll be back right after the break.
You're listening to the Donnelly Auctions Hour on AM 560. The Answer.
I'm Mike Donnelly. We're here with my brother Randy Donnelly, and you're listening to the Donnelly Auctions Hour. We're here every Saturday from 1 to 2 p.m. And today we have been talking about upcoming auctions, and we were touching on our summer coin-op auction, which we call our summer classic here. Signs. We talk about we're always looking for gas and porcelain signs and petroleum signs, but there's so many different kind of signs that bring good money. You've got the porcelain signs, of course, neon signs, which usually advertising beer or soda products or businesses. I mean, if you have a sign that says, shoe repair, things like that. And even if the neon's broken on it, don't worry about that. The neon is easily repaired if the sign warrants it. And a lot of times the guys will buy them with the neon broken. It doesn't matter. And any size, from a small little sign just a couple feet wide to big signs that hung outside of businesses. We've taken them off the sides of buildings and set some phenomenal prices on those things.
Mike, while I was gone this last week, I'm told, correct me, that one of the past customers who had a sign collection with us, she found more signs and brought them in. Another big sign collection just came in?
Another 90-some signs she brought in, yeah. She was just so happy that from the first sign she brought in, she'd never thought they were worth anything. And I think she had said something around, they'd offered her $1,000 for them, the signs that she brought in for the first auction, and we ended up getting her over $15,000 for
and
those signs.
Now these are small, like beer signs and things she had in the
most of the signs
basement.
Were like maybe 1 to 2 feet wide, 10, 12 inches tall. Her husband collected small signs.
Mm-hmm. And again, what I saw there was porcelain thermometers that would hang on the outsides of buildings and like, say, beer signs and stuff. One type that interests me because the value is shocking sometimes are those Hamm's beer signs that have motion in it.
Yeah, we all saw those growing up. If you're father or grandfather took you to a tavern, we'd all be fascinated by those Hamm's beer signs that look like an outdoor lake where the water was moving or the river was actually running. Those signs can bring 1,000 or more easily. And most of those are turning up at garage sales for $20, $30. Beer signs from the 60s and 70s are bringing crazy money. Now, they were made of plastic. They were cheap signs. They were not meant to last a long time. So a lot of them got thrown away or broken or destroyed. So they're becoming very very sought after. I mean, it's not hard for just a cheap little plastic sign to bring $300 or $400.
And then you go to the other extreme. I mean, obviously, some of the big signs that hang in front of businesses and buildings, these big giant porcelain and neon signs and everything, like back in the day when, a couple of years ago, we sold off the signs off of Chicago Joe's or the orange chop suey on, what was that? Tui Avenue?
Orange Gardens on...
oh, yeah.
I forget even the name of the street that was on.
too long ago for two old men. But the type of signs we've got coming in here, I mean, I was looking the other day in the building, and this Mr. Peanut advertising is really crazy good, huh?
Yeah, it's a small miniature peanut roaster, an actual peanut roaster with a paper mache Mr. Peanut standing next to it, and a motor runs that makes him look like he's cranking the roaster, and it is just the greatest piece of Planters advertising I have ever seen.
Now this item has a pre-auction estimate on it of $100,000.
And that's not hard for that type of thing.
Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're not talking nickels and dimes and $5 and $10 here. What you have in your basements, in your attics, in your rec rooms, and everything else can, over the years, you might have picked these things up. I mean, even for free sometimes out of old businesses and taverns, and as places close down. So you might not even have any money into it and just not understand the value of some of these things, what they've grown to over the years.
No, and you always use the term, it's your lottery ticket, and you wouldn't throw a lottery ticket in the garbage without checking the numbers. Well, think of us as this scanner where you're going to put that item under the scanner and see if it's worth anything. Either send us a photo or through email or text, and we'll be happy to tell you, yes, this is a good item, or no, it's not. I mean,
that's it. We give complimentary estimates all the time. I mean, we're always there to help people. In fact, Friday, next Friday, that is, I'm going out to pre-auction estimate a military collection. The folks said, well, gee, before we consign this, can you give us an idea of what this collection is going to be worth? Absolutely. And I have no problem doing that. I mean, it's what we do. It's a complimentary service, and, we'll make sure. And you know what? That's another thing. We buy collections. Let's talk about that in the next segment, Mike, is that everything does not have to go to auction. Donnelly Brothers buy collections all the time also.
Well, you're listening to the Donnelly Auctions Hour here on AM 560. Both Mike and Randy Donnelly here. We'll be right back following the break.
And now, more of the Donnelly Auctions Hour on AM 560. The Answer.
Welcome back to the Donnelly Auctions Hour. We're here every Saturday from 1 to 2 p.m. You're here with Mike and Randy Donnelly right now. Randy, what do we got right now?
Well, you know what? Right before the break, I was saying that we buy collections because, sometimes people say, well, gee, I don't want to take it to auction. I just want to sell it. And I say this all the time. I don't want to miss a collection. If it's for sale, and we think it's a deal, we'll buy it. But I want to tell you, the only thing that we're going to buy it for is to resell it. Resell it and make money on it. So you can do the same thing by selling it at auction because, again, if I come and buy a collection, I'm buying it for resale. I'm going to sell it at my own auction, and I'm going to make profit. Why would you turn down that extra profit? It doesn't make a lot of sense. There was a military collection a gentleman brought in for auction. I'll never forget this. And I said, so what do you think your collection is worth? And he's thinking, and finally he says, I don't know, $40,000. I said, you're serious? I said, right now, if somebody offered you $40,000, I said, you would take it. And he looked at me and he said, well, I suppose I would. I said, my goodness, we'll get more than that just out of the gun portion of your auction. And we wrote him a check at the end of the auction for over $200,000. This is a collection. You remember that?
That was a great collection.
And this is a gentleman that seriously, I mean, because over the years when he was buying it, it just wasn't that much money. He was paying $5 for this, $10 for that. And, individual items that he bought for a song, again, at garage sales. Don't sell your items at garage sales if you haven't checked out the value yet. He was getting $6,000 for this, $8,000, $5,000 for flight jackets. And speaking of which, flight jackets and military, that brings us right into our next military auction is when, Mike?
July 13th and 14th. Yep.
Okay.
Saturday and Sunday.
That's something you can still get in on now. Mm-hmm. If you've got anything in guns and military, our next gun and military auction is July 13th and 14th. This is something almost everybody has something at home, be it a gun, a sword, a dagger, a little cigar box full of medals, uniforms, helmets. Oh my goodness, helmets! The money in helmets these days.
It's amazing because the American helmets now are worth more than the German helmets in many senses.
Without a doubt, I mean, there's so much money in American helmets. Well, especially if they're painted. If they're really World War II helmets. Mm-hmm. They can bring some serious money. I mean, it's not unusual for a good, I'm going to say D-Day helmets, anything that saw action on battlefields like D-Day. I mean, they go into the thousands of dollars. These are the things that all the time are picked up at garage sales. People bring them to us and say, wow, just got this at a garage sale, $25. And, and then we're selling it for them for $1,500, $1,800, and you just feel so bad for the person that sold it off at their garage sale, just not knowing. So it's not that they're doing anything wrong. It's that they're selling without knowing the value.
Correct. Yeah.
So check it out. Call us, and we're happy to help. Again, DonleyAuctions.com, DONLEY, auctions with an S, .com. And we're there for you. This is a free service that we will do to help evaluate your items. And again, guns and military coming up. And that's not just uniforms and insignia and everything. We're also looking for big items. We need vehicles. Military vehicles sell extremely well. And that's, Jeeps, trucks, you name it, field pieces. Field pieces do incredibly well. And
yeah, some of these VFW halls are consolidating and closing up in American Legions, and we have sold their field pieces in front of their
tens of thousands of dollars, folks. And so I'm glad you brought that up, Mike, because if you are involved in helping close up one of these organizations and liquidating or anything, call us because, again, the memorabilia inside, especially in the old VFW halls and everything, can be extremely valuable. And the field pieces outside, in most cases, can be sold. People think they're all owned by the government, and we're finding out all the time that so many of these were bought private purchase by one of the members and donated to the organization.
Yeah, we have a lot of contacts all across the United States, and they'll pay big money for these items.
And we'll go all across the United States. So if you're listening to us, outside in any state, Susan and I just got back from looking at some things in Seattle. We get all over the country. Mike's constantly in California, all over. So we'll go out to pick items up anywhere in the United States. So what else, Mike? What else is coming up?
What else we have coming up? Well, we talked about the summer coin op and everything. Looking for all the items for that.
Yeah, I would say guns and military is what we're really searching for quickly now, because that's kind of around the corner.
That's going to be closing pretty soon.
In July.
So anything you have, even ammunition. I mean, we've cleaned out basements full of ammunition and turned that into thousands and thousands of dollars for people.
Oh, my goodness, yeah.
You know, people have no idea. They'll say, oh, I'm going to call the police to get rid of the ammunition. No, it has value. Do not give it away.
It's heavy, and we'll haul it.
Yes.
And make it fit in your wallet.
So we're going to take another break here. You're listening to the Donnelly Auction Hours on AM 560. I'm Mike with my brother Randy here, and we'll be back for our final segment right after the break.
The Donnelly Auctions Hour continues now on AM 560. The Answer.
Welcome back to the Donnelly Auctions Hour. I'm Mike Donnelly here with my brother Randy, and we're here for a final segment here.
And, you know, Mike, I wanted to talk to everybody out there about, you know, what do you have? What do you have? Mike and I are on the air every week, and we're constantly pounding for the same things that we know sell, that we can sell well. I mean, obviously, cars, you know, motorcycles, porcelain signs, you know, anything coin operated. You know, those items should be obvious to anybody that they sell well. But it's always interesting to hear from you. What kind of collections do you have? What would you like to sell? Call us or contact us, you know, because it's just the other day somebody called us and said, oh, you know, I saw that you sold an old stock ticker. You know, my dad has a couple of them. And it's like, what? He collected stock tickers? I would have never guessed somebody actually collected stock tickers, but yet there they are. So it's so interesting to me. And we have done, huge items like huge steam engines.
Yep. 20-ton steam engines. Yeah, we moved it in and moved it out.
and people, again, have collected, huge collections of steam engines. So don't think that we are limited to small, easy moves and everything. Susan yells at us all the time about, no, big, heavy stuff. You can't keep doing that. But if there's money in it, if there's dollars involved, we want to sell it for you and make it fit in your wallet is our logo here.
Yeah, so as Randy said, just because we haven't touched on it, tell us what you're collecting. If you have collections of things, pocket watches sell well. A lot of people collected pocket watches. People collect old currency. Whatever you collect, give us a call or send us an email and let us know what you have, and we will help you liquidate it.
Movie memorabilia still sells well.
Oh, big time.
And of course, we're also talking about not just posters or costume type items and everything, but we're talking about the studio cameras and projection equipment and everything. And man, some of the amplifiers that come out of old theaters and stuff.
That old Western electric amplifiers, it just brings crazy money. It's not unusual for an amplifier to bring $50,000, $60,000. And if you looked at this, you wouldn't think it would bring scrap.
No, you brought me to a theater once and said we're moving these speakers out. They just looked like two huge wooden refrigerator boxes, and I go, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Huge money.
Yeah, I think those sold for like $10,000 a piece.
I think they did. Yeah. Crazy good money. So again, ladies and gentlemen, we're here for you. You can contact us easily through DonnellyAuctions.com. It's the easiest way, DONLEY, auctions with an S.com, or call us at 815-923-7000 because we want to help you sell what collections you have. Who knows what you've got? We don't know. We can't get through the radio if you don't contact us. So we're always looking for more. We're always looking for that next big auction and the next big find. But whether it's one item or an entire collection, we're there for you. So any last thoughts, Mike? We're drawing near on the end of the show here today.
No, just as Randy said, call us 815-923-7000 or at DonnellyAuctions.com and go check out some of our great auctions coming up.
And we've got a great guest for you next week, too. We'll just leave it at that. That's the cliffhanger for the show.
Well, thank you for listening. We'll be back next Saturday, Donnelly Auction Hours.
So until next week, I'm Randy Donnelly.
And I'm Mike Donnelly.
And we'll see you at the auction.
Thanks for listening to the Donnelly Auctions Hour on AM 560, The Answer. Check out all the latest information on upcoming auctions and collectibles at DonnellyAuctions.com. And while you're there, you can contact someone about buying or selling your collectibles or estates. That's DonnellyAuctions.com.